What if someone you love vanished into thin air, no clues, no goodbye, just gone? Around the world, there are cases so chilling, so unexplained, that they still baffle investigators and terrify families decades later. From planes disappearing off the radar to children vanishing in the night, these stories aren't just mysteries, they're nightmares without endings. Tonight, we uncover the top 10 most mysterious missing person cases ever, stories that prove sometimes the scariest thing isn't what we know, but what we may never find out. Welcome to a journey into the unknown, a world where people vanish without a trace, leaving behind nothing but unanswered questions. These are not just stories, they're chilling puzzles that have haunted families, investigators, and entire nations. From legendary aviators lost at sea to children who disappear in the middle of the night, each case carries an unsettling truth. Sometimes reality is stranger, scarier, and more heartbreaking than fiction. Get ready as we count down the top 10 most mysterious missing person cases ever, stories that continue to defy explanation and grip the world with fear and fascination. The next case is equally haunting and tragic: the disappearance of the Sodder children. It was Christmas Eve, 1945, in Fayetteville, West Virginia. The Sodder family home caught fire in the middle of the night. George and Jenny Sodder, along with several of their children, managed to escape, but 5 of the Sodder kids, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty, were never seen again. Authorities concluded they had perished in the flames, yet no bones or remains were ever found in the ashes. What made the case even more mysterious were the strange phone calls and reported sightings the family received over the years. Jenny Sodder once received a photograph of a man she believed was her missing son, Louis, alive and grown. Were the children kidnapped? Did someone set the fire as a cover-up? The Sodder family spent the rest of their lives searching for the truth, their case still unsolved, their Christmas forever shadowed by uncertainty. Jumping forward, we come to one of the most confounding cases in the world of hiking and exploration: the disappearance of the Sodder equivalent in the wild, the Dyatlov Pass incident. In 1959, 9 experienced hikers set out to climb the Ural Mountains in Soviet Russia. What followed was a nightmare. Their bodies were discovered scattered across the snow, some half-dressed, others with bizarre injuries like fractured skulls and missing eyes. Investigators concluded the hikers fled their tent in the dead of night, cutting their way out and running into the freezing blizzard. But why? What terrified them so much that they left their gear behind? Theories range from avalanche to military testing, to something far stranger, an unknown force or phenomenon. To this day, no single explanation has satisfied the chilling questions raised by their final moments. Though not exactly a missing persons case in the traditional sense, the Dyatlov group's disappearance from their tent into the snow remains one of history's coldest mysteries. Another story that has haunted people for decades is the vanishing of Jimmy Hoffa, one of America's most powerful union leaders. On July 30, 1975, Hoffa went to a meeting at a restaurant in Detroit. Witnesses saw him waiting in the parking lot, pacing nervously. Then he was gone. Despite years of investigation, endless tips, and even digs in fields and backyards across the country, Hoffa's body has never been found. Many believe he was murdered by the mob. Others think his enemies within his union arranged his disappearance. His case has become so legendary that whenever hidden remains are uncovered in America, people still ask, could this be Jimmy Hoffa? His name has become synonymous with vanishing into thin air, a mystery that continues to frustrate law enforcement to this day. But missing person cases aren't always about powerful figures or world-famous names. Sometimes they're about ordinary people in extraordinary circumstances. Take the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. In 2007, 3-year-old Madeleine was on vacation with her family in Portugal. One evening, her parents left her and her siblings asleep in their apartment while they dined at a nearby restaurant. When they returned, Madeleine was gone. Her disappearance sparked an international search, dominating headlines for years. Countless suspects were questioned, countless theories proposed, from abduction to more sinister speculation. Yet despite the media frenzy and decades of searching, Madeleine's fate is still unknown. Her bright eyes and smiling face remain on posters, forever symbolizing one of the most high-profile missing child cases in history. Then there's the strange vanishing of the Roanoke colony, one of America's oldest mysteries. In the late 1500s, over 100 settlers established a colony on Roanoke Island, off the coast of North Carolina. When supply ships returned years later, the settlement was empty. No bodies, no signs of struggle, just one cryptic clue carved into a tree, the word Croatoan. Did they assimilate into nearby Native American tribes? Were they wiped out by disease or conflict? No evidence has ever been discovered, leaving Roanoke as one of the eeriest mass disappearances in recorded history. A more modern case is that of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370. On March 8, 2014, the plane carrying 239 people vanished from radar while flying from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. Despite extensive searches across the Indian Ocean, only small pieces of wreckage have ever been recovered. Theories about what happened range from catastrophic technical failure, to hijacking, to deliberate actions by the pilot. To this day, MH370 remains one of aviation's greatest mysteries, with families of the passengers still waiting for answers. The idea that a modern passenger jet could disappear without a trace is almost unthinkable, yet it happened, leaving an enduring scar on history. Not all cases involve large groups or famous faces. Some are haunting precisely because they involve just one person, gone without explanation. One such case is that of Brandon Swanson. In 2008, the 19-year-old was driving home from a party in Minnesota when his car went into a ditch. He called his parents, explaining where he thought he was, and they drove out to pick him up. On the phone with them, Brandon said he was walking toward lights in the distance. Then suddenly, he shouted, "Oh shit!" and the line went dead. His car was found, his parents searched frantically, but Brandon was never seen again. His final words remained chilling, leaving us to wonder what exactly he saw that night, and what took him away. Another mystery that grips the world is the story of Etan Patz, a 6-year-old boy who disappeared in New York City in 1979. He was walking to his school bus stop alone for the very first time when he vanished. His case changed America, sparking new awareness of missing children and even leading to faces of missing kids being printed on milk cartons. For decades, his parents searched tirelessly, and while there was eventually a conviction of a suspect, the truth about what really happened remains debated. Etan's story stands as one of the most impactful and heartbreaking missing person cases in history. And finally, we can't forget about the disappearance of Natalee Holloway. In 2005, Natalee, an 18-year-old from Alabama, went missing while on a high school graduation trip to Aruba. She was last seen leaving a nightclub with a group of men. Despite international attention, countless searches, and multiple arrests, her body was never found, and her case remains unsolved. Her story became a cultural touchstone, a cautionary tale of how quickly a fun trip can turn into a nightmare, and how answers aren't always found even when the world is watching. These cases remind us of something profoundly unsettling, that no matter how much technology, investigation, or attention is applied, sometimes people simply disappear. They leave behind families shattered by uncertainty, and they leave behind mysteries that feel like open wounds in history. Some of these stories may one day be solved, with new evidence or new technology finally shedding light on what happened. Others may remain forever unsolved, whispered about in dark corners of conversation and retold as legends. But one thing is certain: each of these disappearances continues to capture our imagination because they force us to face the unknown. They remind us that not every story has an ending, not every question has an answer, and sometimes the truth remains just out of reach. And that concludes our dive into the top 10 most mysterious missing person cases in history. Each of these disappearances leaves behind a trail of sorrow, confusion, and endless speculation. Some may one day be solved, while others will likely remain eternal mysteries, lingering in the shadows of history. But they all remind us of the fragility of life and the power of the unknown. If these stories sent chills down your spine, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new deep dive into the world's strangest mysteries. Share this video with someone who loves unsolved cases, and let us know in the comments which disappearance left you the most unsettled. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe, because the world is full of secrets waiting to be uncovered.